Welcome to Season 7 of Paper Talk,
where we share stories about growing and thriving in your creative business.
I'm Quinn Nguyen of Pinkham Hosey.
I'm Jessie Chu of Crafted to Bloom.
And I'm Sarah Kim of Handmade by Sarah Kim.
In this season, we want to explore the evolution of an artist's journey and the growth and struggle of having a business.
Plus, we'll chat with other entrepreneurs and artists to uncover their keys to success.
So get ready to unlock the potential in your creative journey with us.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Paper Talk. Today, we have a very special guest that I've been trying to hound to get on here. And finally, Sarah has gotten Naomy Kim of Made by Naomy to come onto our podcast. When I first met Naomy, it was actually through Sarah's Christmas giveaway. That was, I don't want to say 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
I know that.
And I received the Secret Santa that you did. And I was like,
this year.
Maybe next year.
We'll do Paper Talk version of it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That'll be
so
fun.
much fun. But it was amazing. I received it and I was like, who is this artist? She is just so talented. And so ever since then, I've been like, Naomy, can you come on our podcast to talk about your art? And here she is, everyone. If you haven't checked out her Instagram account, you need to check it out. She does things with felt that I've never seen other felt artists do. And I love the details that you put on there. The coloring that you put on the felt, because that's one of the things that sets you apart. You look into the petals, you see the variation of colors, and I've seen you evolved over the years, Naomy, and you're amazing. So talented.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so excited to hear, how did you find felt flowers?
So I always love flowers and crafting, and I haven't considered myself as an artist before or a business person. So I was just making like a small gift for friends or family or doing home decoration. But one of the things that was, I used to work with young children and family with disabilities. So the felt was the material that I used for them, mostly as a educational material or tools. So the felt was something that I was very comfortable to use and easy to access. So I think I was very comfortable of using it. And I made a lot of projects with my friends groups or with my girls. So it became something that I wanted to try for my future, but I wasn't sure because I see a lot of wonderful like felt florists or paper florists. I tried a lot of practices and I watched a lot of YouTube tutorials like Sarah's or other felt florists. So I think that's when I started to think about maybe I should try and give it a try. And my husband is the one who actually encouraged me to sell something. He's the one always asks me to sell. If I make something, he said, Naomy, why don't you sell this? I think you should sell this.
What a great husband.
Yeah, he's the best supporter, I think. Yeah, that's how I start my felt flower. I did try when I was making a gift topper for my sister's wedding. I think that's the time when I seriously think about selling it because I got a lot of compliments from the guests and some actually reached out to me and asked if I can make one for them. That's the time when it was around before COVID. So I started to think about it. And after COVID, I think that's the time when I seriously start to think about making felt flower.
Yeah. A natural evolution.
Yeah, it was a natural evolution. My mom and my grandmother is very crafty and they have a natural talent, I think, very artistic talent. So I think I got something from them to create things easily. One day I was talking to my grandma. She's 90 right now, but she was talking to me and she said she actually made silk flower when she was young too. So I was very surprised that she also made flower. She was very proud of me because I was making a flower. So she actually taught me about the iron that I was using right now. So that's the time when I realized there's a tool that was used for the fabric. So it was an experience for me because silk and felt is pretty different because it's pretty thick. So I did a lot of practice and trial and error. There wasn't a lot of resource for the tools to use. So it took a while, but now I think looking back, it's worth the trial.
Yeah. I feel like you can tell just with your flower or your felt flowers, it sets apart from other people because there are like texture outside of just the fabric itself And I think that's what really drawn me to your Instagram and like your flowers in general, because you are able to see those details. And it is hard. It's very different from paper, but also very similar in a sense.
Yeah.
And we have to figure out how to do different things to manipulate our paper. But I'm sure there's like a whole nother world of doing that with felt. And I actually have experience in making silk flowers because I used to make wedding accessories. So that was originally what I started out with. So I always had interest in making like fabric flowers specifically, but it's hard to really do more than just the oval that you cut out. And so I love the fact that you did use the whole iron idea, because I think the people that make like hats, they do that, right? Yeah. So that is really cool. And do you only make flowers for like bouquets, or do you usually like to do it for accessories? Because that's how I would make felt flowers before. But I know when I look at your Instagram, it's mostly like bouquets and things like that. Would you ever want to do like accessories in the...
I think I tried like a pin or something to put on the... But the thing was, live felt is pretty heavy. So the felt fabric itself is stiff, and when you put lots of layers, it gets really heavier. So I was like, sometimes it's really hard to stay still on the clothes or on the hat. So I figure maybe it's not working for me. So I go with them like bouquet or wreath. Wreath is also a little bit challenging for me too, because my flowers are, again, it's heavier than I think other flower. So it's hard to stay still on the wreath. I think that's why I personally prefer flower bouquet or arrangement.
Okay. Yeah, they are really pretty. And I really
so
like
pretty.
them. Do you have a favorite flower that you make?
Peonia.
Yeah.
They're so pretty.
I know all of ours is
A lot
probably
of layers. But I like small flowers, like little flowers, like a fillers.
Do you hand cut them?
I usually hand cut it, person hand cut. I don't like to do the machine cut.
I've seen some of like your little detailed like leaves and foliage, because I'm like, how is that felt? Like they're really tiny details.
Yeah. You must work with really good felt though, right? Like high.
I would say it's something that everyone gets. So wool blend felt there's a couple shop, they have good felt. It's most of the felt flower florists get those from similar, I think, shop.
I mean, generally their thickness is heavier than what you could get or what you would get at
Michael's. Yeah, totally different. Yeah, that's the difference.
And they probably have bigger like color ranges.
Yeah.
Compared to the
I think more colors. Yeah.
You just have red and green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of color choices. Yeah.
See, it's a whole new world when it comes to felt flowers too. I feel like it sets apart just from crepe paper versus cardstock paper, because it's like a whole different world of finding different materials and things like that. Although like we overlap, right? We use those similar stems and floral tape and things.
Yeah. For me, paper is another world.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I feel like
paper is another
world. It's harder.
I never tried crepe paper before. Before Quinn sent me the flower for the gift exchange, so that was the first time seeing crepe paper before. So I was very amazed, like how delicate and detail you guys can make. Yeah. It's another world.
And her flowers are pretty too. Yeah. But I love that. I love that we could all make flowers and like with different mediums. And I'm really fascinated by like flowers, like cake cream, and they're so detailed too. So I love that it's like universal too. Like you can be from any part of the country, any part of the world, and make flowers.
With different materials.
I have a question for you, Naomi.
Yes.
When did you start experimenting with coloring your felt? Because that was something I just saw a few years ago that you started doing. How did you pick the coloring medium for felt?
So first I started with eyeshadow. I'm not sure if you remember. It was pretty earlier when I started my business. One of my friends is art major, and she's the one who taught me how, like, strategies to become a business owner. She did a business in Korea. So I was lucky to talk to her, and she recommended me to try different materials on the fabric. So one day I was just looking at my eyeshadow I was like, oh, I should try. What's it called? The pen pack. It was, for me as a starter, was too expensive for me to buy all the colors as a starting business owner. So I was like, oh, I want to try something new, but something that's easy to find and not too expensive. So I tried with the eyeshadow and it was working pretty well. But I realized the eyeshadow is
Fade.
fade. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Fade. So I was walking in Joanne Fabric and I saw a fabric dye ink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, maybe I can try that fabric ink. And then it was a success for me to try on the belt. So I had to collect all the colors from the Joanne Fabric and Michael's, whatever I see, new colors. And that's how I started to dye my belt. And I think that made a little bit more unique.
Yeah. For sure.
And like uneven tones kind of thing
Yeah.
that like a real
Yeah.
petal would have.
Yeah.
That's so hard to achieve
Mhm.
with fabric. Do you paint them still then? Like with the pigment or
No, I
you
just,
dunk it in?
yes, I just
Oh,
dump it in the water of the ink and then just squeeze rest of the ink and then dry to make it awesome.
I know.
You know,
That
this
is
is
awesome. Actually, I have students that always ask like, how do you get your color? And I'm like, during my workshops, and I'm like, that takes a whole extra day
I
that
know.
we
That's
don't
what I was
have.
going to say.
Yeah, we can't do that here. And they're like, but we want that color. I'm like, no, you have 2 hours. And within those 2 hours is just learning how to make the flower first.
Yeah.
But painting it, yeah, I actually do dye and paint, but it will take a whole day to dry and let it sit and make sure it's not like leaking ink. So
Yeah.
definitely a long process.
Yeah. And additional to hand dye, I also do the starching to make a little bit firm because felt fabric has, I feel like it's a little bit, the edge when I cut it, it's a
like
fabric.
raised.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I want to reduce that. So I starch the fabric that adding one more day actually to dry, completely dry.
Is it a spray starch or do you have like a bath starch that you dunk?
I prefer the spray starch because I don't want to get too stiff. The spray I can control. So I use the one that's really easy to get like at Costco. There's iron starch bottle thing. So I get them and then spray before I actually.
All the processes that people don't see that goes into your art, right? Make it look a specific way, but makes your art so unique as well. Yeah.
But I feel like when I see the final product, it's like the price it's really worth it.
Yeah, for sure. It's worth the effort.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you evolve with your pricing?
So that's the one thing I'm still struggling because a lot of like close friends or my husband is trying to ask me to raise the price. It depends on what your standard is, but they think compared to nowadays going up, Naomi is not going up. They ask me to if I'm interested in raising the price. But for me, I think that's still my homework. I just think about the material price and then just add a little bit of my effort price to it. Because I think there's some felt in general, people think that's a pretty cheap, not pricey material. So people think that if it makes it too higher, it's too expensive to purchase as a flower. So it's a little bit hard to price my flowers. Still, I'm having struggle actually.
Yes, we
I
all
feel the
go
same
through
way.
that
We all
struggle.
evolution.
Yeah.
You're talking to paper
paper
artists. We're working with paper and they're going to be like, you're just making flowers out of
Yeah.
paper.
People think it's cheap.
They're looking at only the final product. So they don't think that, they think I'm a magician, like just make a flower. But it's not. Like I have to have a couple of days in process to make flower. So it's hard, I guess.
Yeah.
But I understand as a customer. So
I guess ultimately, as long as you can pay your bills and you don't feel like you're taken advantage of, so you feel content with that pricing, then maybe is the price for now until you start feeling otherwise, right? Because once you start feeling like, oh, I spent so much time and someone will only pay this for it, I don't know, maybe at that point, reconsider whether or not maybe it's not just your labor or time. It's also the skill involved, right?
Yeah.
No one else can make it the same way that you do. And for someone to decide to buy your work versus someone else's, obviously there's a reason for that. And you can charge more for that reason. And I think, the customers that love your work, they'll pay for it because they respect your work, right? They trust you and they respect your work and they want your work as well. But it is a tough conversation to have with yourself. It's very difficult. Yeah.
I feel like as an artist, you're always battling that idea of like, how much do I charge and how much am I worth and how much is my art worth? And I actually have a background in being a musician. So then it's like from music to art, it's like the saddest industry, I feel like, when it comes to billing ourselves because it's a passion project for both music and art. So it's always this struggle. And art can be like $1 to like thousands of dollars. And then the sad reality is we have to find multiple streams of income as a musician and as an artist. You also have to figure out other ways to make money if it's about money. So like teaching it or trying to find workshops and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. I always find myself like literally negotiating with myself, 100%. Especially like emails. Okay, when someone's asking, how much will it be? And I'm like, how do I write this number? And then I was like, no, okay, maybe $10 less. And then I'm like, but wait, maybe more than that. And then you're just like literally negotiating with yourself when on the other side, they haven't even said a word. How much does it cost? And so I think it's, Sarah, I think it's hard, especially if you're coming from music. I think if you're coming from a salaried job or your background is billing, I used to bill on the hour. The other day when I was like writing an email back because somebody was asking me to reduce my hourly rate, I was like, no. Like in my mind, at first I was like, oh, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do $10 or $5 less. And then I calculated it and I'm like, I don't know. And then I thought about like billable work. So when I was a lawyer and I billed $350, $400 per hour. And you think about that. You think about, okay, what kind of investment did I put in that? What kind of experience? What are they looking for when a client sees me and agrees to pay $400 per hour? And I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? In art, it's not any difference. They came to you specifically for your work. No one can make your work. No one can make it the way you do, no matter how long it takes, no matter what. They came to you asking for you to make their dream bouquet or dream piece. So tell yourself that. If other people are charging like $300, $400, $500 per hour, whatever it is, I know it's extreme, right? But think about what does that mean equivalent to your skills and what the market wants, what your clients want. And don't feel bad about saying that number out to them. You will be surprised. You might actually be really surprised that they're like, you know what? Okay, yeah, because I want it, so I'm going to pay for it.
There's some people
conversation that you have with yourself where you're actually devaluing yourself because you're like, oh, what will they think? And I think we need to care less about what other people think and what think it should be. Because honestly, like an hour of a doctor's work is the same as you an hour. Not, I want to say they do less sometimes than what you probably do in an hour, right? Yeah. And I think it's just a different value of what they do versus you. I don't think it's any less important that you bring beauty and joy into somebody's world versus someone saying, oh, you have cold. I'll prescribe you something. I don't know. I think it's just the way we think about it. Totally
Preach it, Jessie. Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, sorry, I don't want to hijack the conversation, but I always get these ads from artists promoting their work, right? And there was an artist, I don't want to name who, because he's a very famous artist who apparently is only famous for marketing. And I was looking at his work, I'm like, how is that worth like $300? But the way they market it is as if everyone needs, this is a famous artist, and he is famous, but he's famous for promoting himself to be famous. And he's able to sell things like prints that were like geometric shapes. Okay. I don't want to say, I'm not an art critic, so I don't want to say anything. People can do geometric shapes, but after a while, you're just like, there's no feeling in it. There's no passion. It's just geometric shapes. It's doable. But it's a print for $300. And the way they promote it is, exclusive and you've got to buy it. It's collectible. And he issues these like every month, like different things. And I'm like, how do you make things every month that is different? But at the end of it, when I was like thinking about it, I'm like, it is self-promotion. How are you presenting yourself? If you're presenting it as this is one of a kind, bespoke, it's high end, it's luxurious, whatever word you want to put to it, you put that price out there and you promote it enough, people are going to believe it. And I'm not saying they shouldn't believe it, but they are. And so I think it is really important, like in your shop, are you going to put everything as $20? Because if everything's $20, then it's going to look like I can afford everything. If I can buy everything, then it's not valuable. But if you price them accordingly to whatever it might be, $50, $80, $100, I think it communicates to your clients something about the value of what you think your art is. And they can agree with you or they cannot. I don't agree with that, guys, but people still buy it because that's what people eventually believe. So anyways, yeah, sorry for hijacking the conversation. How really bothered me because I know he's been an existing artist. He's old. He's been a very successful artist for years, but a lot of it is he's a team that promotes him in that way. And to each their own, right? Everyone has different tastes, but I think part of it is what kind of confidence, what do you have behind your work? And if you put it out there, you have a market. People who love your work will love it and they'll buy it.
Yeah.
Don't just undervalue yourself. Don't argue with yourself. If your husband and your friends are saying you should increase your price, I think that's really good advice to listen to for sure, because no one's going to say it certainly might not be you, but that's a sign. If they're willing to buy it and they think that it's worth it, I think other people, would too.
Yeah. I think Jessie nailed it on confidence. How confident are you about your art? How do you feel about putting it out there and people saying no or yes and moving on? It's like you put it out there, you do it, and then you see what happens and then you accept it. And if it's good, then yes, that's the way you're going to do it. If it's no, you're like, okay, I'm going to do better, but I'm still going to try that pathway. And sometimes when you do that pricing, you just got to stick with it for a few months because it takes a little bit of time for people to recognize it, adjust, accept it. And if you just are confident and you market yourself, and I think a lot of artists, we're not marketers. Most of us believe that if we make it, people come, people will buy it. But way that the world has evolved with TikTok, with Instagram Reels, with Facebook, with all these social medias, you have to push yourself because there's a lot of noise out there. And how do you present yourself? How do you make yourself known to your audience to say, as an artist, I evolve, I'm constantly learning. There's no artist out there that is not constantly testing, trial and error, educating themselves, learning new techniques. And you have to think about the money you're investing into your art and how you're portraying it. And it's so important to know your worth and to know that you're evolving as an artist too, and that you can't stay stagnant. Because if you do, you're not evolving as an artist. And the real meaning of an artist is how do you portray your personal growth? And that is what you're showing to your audience out there. I've been watching you, Naomi, and your art is just amazing and beautiful. And I do agree with your husband and your friends. Think about raising your price because it's so important to recognize that as an artist, we are constantly evolving and you should definitely price yourself in such a way that you're like, yes, this is me. This is how I'm portraying myself, and be confident. It does take a lot of time to get to that space. And I would say all three, Jessie, Sarah, myself, we've been doing it for more than a decade now. And it's taken that time to evolve and to price ourselves in such a way. And Sarah nailed it too. Is what various income can you bring inside that you're constantly not making? For myself, I evolved. There's certain times where I just want to make and make. I don't want to teach or talk to other people. I just want to create and do it. But then I get tired because I've been making so much. Now I want to have that moment to talk to people and show people what I have learned in the past few months of just constantly creating. And I think I'm in that part where I want to make less and teach more because I have this knowledge all inside of me. And that's another income that helps me stay interested in what I'm doing. And you can't constantly be making all the time without sharing. And I think I love that about Instagram because you do have the outlet to share with your audience. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm evolving. This is what I'm investing in myself to make my art better for you. Yeah.
Well, you do show your process, Naomi.
Naomi does tutorial and workshops too.
Not the workshop, but I started to
like an online class.
Yeah, it's just a tutorial for a couple flowers, but it was challenging for me to make flower and also like record the tutorials and editing. So I'm still working on it, but I started to, like you said, I started to share the process. It was one of my struggle, actually, sharing my technique because I was like, oh, should I share or should I not? Because I want to be a little bit more unique than like other flower. I struggled a lot, but I had a lot of conflict, but when I decided to share the tools and how I make flowers, I think I feel more confident on my flower and I feel stronger than I before as a business owner and felt flower florist. And I also have more interaction with other felt florists. So I think it was a good call for me to share how the techniques and
Yeah. I think that's what
Yeah.
makes you unique too. Your tools
Yeah.
are so different. And I think your customers would see that too, right? That process
Yeah.
showing how long it takes for you to do each and every petal. It doesn't just magically appear. So I think educating your clientele is really important to know where that is. What are they paying for?
Yeah. I think that, yeah, that was the one thing that my customers also realized that it is not just like a magic, but I'm putting a lot of efforts on it. So they think that's more special and unique as a customer too. So a lot of customers doesn't mind how much they're paying for the felt flowers. So I'm very thankful for them too.
Yeah.
In this day and age, I feel like showing the process is an art in itself. So I feel like,
You would
like
know.
I'm a content creator now, just showing you the process behind it. And there's money in that too. And I feel like sometimes it pays me more to be a content creator than the art that I'm actually selling. So I feel like people would love and eat all of that up when you're showing that process of ironing your textures and creating that. Like it is art too. It's not just the outcome of your flower. So I actually love watching that process usually. So I am that audience. I'm the audience that loves watching process. It's not just the outcome flowers. So I feel like that's the modern way of marketing to your own work, but also that's an art too, like an art form. Are there any other challenges? And then I would also love to hear any like success stories outside of those challenges that you did have during your business process.
Managing, like balancing out my family, I think, and versus work is the top challenge for me for now.
What does your day-to-day look like?
My oldest wakes up at 5:30 because her bus comes at 30.
Oh, wow.
And I know, right? This middle school, county middle school, their school starts at 7.
Oh, where are you located?
I'm in Virginia, Fairfax County.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to wake up at 5 because she doesn't want to eat lunch at school. I have to pack her lunch.
Motherhood.
Yep. She left. My younger one wakes up around 8 and she goes to school. Her bus comes around 9. So most of my alone time will be start around at 9:30. So that's the time when I can start my flower. My oldest come back home at 2:00 because the school starts early.
Right.
So I have pretty tight schedule because my kids continue go and back and they have some activities. So usually my flower making time is after dinner.
Yeah. Good for you to have enough energy to work.
No, I started to get sick. That's why I don't
take care of yourself.
Your body's killing yourself.
Yeah, that's why I need to, like, one of my challenges is balancing out my time with family and work and also managing my time.
I feel like small business owners, especially artists, like this is a privilege, right? Where we get to work from home, be flexible with our time and be able to be a stay-at-home mom while I get to also work is like the dream come true. But at the same time, I'm constantly working. Like there's no break because I'm always thinking about something. And then, right when the kids go to sleep, then I have to go back to something where I'm brainstorming, planning something else. I'm editing my videos at night. So I feel like any minute that I have in between that's for me, I have to use it for work. Even though it's so flexible, it's also, you have to take advantage of it to the max.
So I think the time managing is very important as a small business owner working home. My youngest one says she doesn't like felt flower because I was putting too much time.
Oh, you have to teach her. So she could.
She's old enough now, but she was young.
She could do that thing.
I don't trust them, so I don't give them felt.
That is true.
Yeah. Girls are they're very good at art. My older one draws very well, but I can't trust them giving my scissors and people to help me.
Barely trust my husband to help me.
Can't trust my husband either.
No.
No.
But you should ask your daughter to draw illustration for your packaging.
I asked her once, but she has her style of drawing is very unique and she has her own style and she doesn't want what mommy says to draw.
It's not aesthetically for you.
Yeah, it's not aesthetic. It's like too much. It's wild.
It's a teaching moment for her because if she wants to do art, she needs to learn to listen, especially she's going to be a graphic designer. She needs to learn to listen to her client.
That's what I always say. That's why I always say, yeah, you have to listen to your client. You can't draw what you always want to draw.
Yeah.
But it's in puberty stage, so I just let her be.
Yeah.
That's a
Draw
tough
whatever
age.
you want.
Teenagers.
Yes.
Yeah, but I have thought about it and I might ask her later on in the future.
Yeah, that'd be a really nice way to
It'll be
integrate
fun.
it.
Yeah. I've actually started involving my niece, who's an artist, to help me draw labels and illustration because I really cannot draw. And so she's actually helped me. If I have a special project and I have this vision and I don't know how to illustrate it, I will tell her what I'm trying to do and she will illustrate it out on her Procreate and then send it over to me. And we talk back and forth about the vision that I'm wanting and she will change it, which is really amazing. And the one project that this is the first time I'm announcing it to the public like this is a winer reached out to me to create a wine and we're calling it Paper Petals. And she says, do your label, do whatever you want. And I've been talking to her to create this beautiful illustration on wine label, which is so cool.
So cool.
And this is something that she could add to her portfolio when she does submit it for college, because it's a great teaching moment for them to learn about how to work with clients and also just for them to have it in their portfolios. Oh, look, I made a wine label. I done this. This is what my illustrations now out there for the world to see. So it's pretty fun. And it's really been fun to work with her because I don't have any kids and it's been really great kind of mentoring and talking to my niece about it.
Yeah. I'm going to let my daughter to listen to this podcast.
Yes.
Honestly,
listen to me, but
I will say it's a little bit different when it's your own kids.
Yeah.
I always love the cool. I had an aunt too, so I love that cool aunt.
It is a cool
It's like
aunt for
It's
sure.
like a second mom, but not really my mom. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the best relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So lucky.
I'm the cool aunt
You're
too
lucky.
because I have Instagram. My niece is, that's my cool aunt. Way cooler than my mom.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Yeah. Balancing work and family life. I think it's, like you said, Sarah, it's a privilege to have that time, but at the same time, it can be so tricky to work with because sometimes you feel like you're not either doing good in either, whether it's your art or your kids. So yeah, we admire you for having that courage to pursue your passion and at the same time raise your kids because it's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a good transitioning part. So do you have a life hack that you use as a mom to help you balance your work and your kids?
So maybe it's just for me, but I'm a very organized person. So I don't know if this is a life hack, but I have a schedule for myself for to-do list for my house. Every day after my kids leave, 30 minutes, I do Monday, I do first floor vacuum. I have a 3-level townhouse, so I do Monday, 30 minutes, I do first level vacuum. Tuesday, second level vacuum.
Wow.
Wednesday, I do laundry. Thursday. So I have some schedule. Otherwise, I can't manage my time. It's too much for me doing both. I need to have some schedule for my
For sure.
housework. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like to hire someone else to clean my house. It's just me. I'm the person who might clean before they come and then clean after they left.
Yes, I know. Ironic, isn't it?
And so that's how I manage my house clean.
Yes.
I get stressed out if my house is not organized. So I have to have
me
all
too.
clean. Yeah.
For sure. I know. It's
So-
hard though, having to schedule in your chores because or else they fall off the wagon so easily, right? I think that's a good hack.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you, Sarah? What life hack do you have to share with us this week?
Maybe I have to do a cleaning one too. I don't know. I am a neat freak, so I do like my house clean. I guess it's not really a life hack, but if you want your house to be clean, you have to clean all the time.
I think that's true. That is true.
Clean every day. My best friend is the Dyson handheld vacuum cleaner, right? Like I carry that around with me. And yeah, I get it from my mom. My mom's like super clean too. And she lives with her vacuum cleaner, like the handheld one. It's like the best gift for her because she vacuums that every day. And I think it's because when you don't, by the end of the week, like it's so piled up and it's dirty. So to me, I don't know. I'm not really an organizer though. Like in my drawers, it's like definitely shoved in there. But it's the idea of like, I get really nitpicky about like hair on the ground because I have a lot of hair and like dust. Like those are the things that bother me. So I guess I'm a very specific neat freak. So I do vacuum every corner, every baseboard. So it is not dusty on the edges. I am a little judgy when I go to people's homes. It's a very honest truth today.
This is why we clean up before guests come.
Yeah, Swifters.
Before I come, just letting you know. No, I'm just kidding. It's in my house, so I don't care if it's not clean. But the only way I know that it's a clean house or a not clean house, and most of the people fail my test, only my mom passes the test. It's the corner. So in the corner, if there's dust or hair, then it's clean or not clean, right? So that basically I could eat off of my mom's ground and my ground most of the time. So that's the only, this is not even a life hack, right? Like you just need to clean all the time. If you don't clean, then your house is. But I tell you, like, actually, okay, a real life hack about the whole idea of cleaning. My husband's so into this one book called Love People, Use Things. I think that's what it's called. It's about being a minimalist. And I guess in the book, there's a portion where it says, if you don't have stuff, then it'll be clean. Like you're you're tidy because you just don't have stuff everywhere that you don't need. And that's trash. We try to be mindful about our purchases and things that we buy and accumulate. So we have been trying. I'm always sharing my new purchases all the time. But basically, we just want to tell ourselves, instead of scrolling to buy whatever it's telling you to buy, we just go, don't scroll through that and just tell yourself like, okay, I need this. Then you can go buy it. But if you're not like, because before like my spending habits were literally like, I would just scroll and I'm like, ooh, that's a cute sweater. I want it. Or, oh, I need some pants, I think. And then I'll just purchase it. Whereas if you are trying to be a minimalist in a sense, make better decisions in purchasing, you should tell yourself what you really want first before you start scrolling to shop. I guess that's my life hack.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
How about you, Jessie? What's your life hack?
Everyone's talking about cleaning. Do I have
New year.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
You gotta sweep all the bad luck away, right? That's what we believe. I recently got a second, like a handheld vacuum. So I'm also in a townhouse. So we have three floors, and we have our Dyson on the middle floor because that's where our kitchen and everything is. But lately I've been telling myself, like, whatever makes it easier for me to clean, I got to do it or I got to buy it. And so I bought a second handheld one. It's not expensive, a small one, but at least I can get to clean the lobby all the time, because the lobby with the snow and the salt, it's always just rocky. Can I say that? Like you step on it and you're like, ooh, it's not wet, but there's pebbles and stuff. So that's where my washroom is. So that's where we plug it in. But now I feel like I don't have to go up and drag my Dyson down and do all of that. Now I have a handheld where I can just literally do vacuum along the way. When you were talking about you have to clean every day, one of the things that my mom used to do and my dad, they're clean freaks too. I go to their house and I'm like, oh, I feel so bad. My house is like so messy. Is when they're sitting on the toilet in the morning, they look around and they look at the baseboards, they look on the ground. Yeah. And after they're done in the toilet, they clean everything up. And so that's what I've picked up. That's what I do in the morning, because you're like sitting there for maybe, 30 seconds. Yeah. And you're like, I got to do something, right? You can do something with your time. So you like swipe everything around you and the baseboards, and it's not too onerous. But like you said, yeah, it's the everyday things that you have to do. You have to notice it and then do something right away. Otherwise, yeah, it builds up and then it becomes more of a chore to actually clean everything and dust everything. It takes hours versus every day you take your minute and swipe all of that up. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think maybe that's a hack. Those are the strategies I've used to try to keep up with the extensive chores that we will have in our homes. What about you, Quinn?
My life hack this week, so I've been doing a lot of floral arrangement lately. And one thing that my friend and some of my floral designer has given me this hack is put some alcohol liquid in a spray bottle from like the dollar store every time before you use it, after you use your scissors or your snips, spray it with the alcohol spray, and that will sanitize and dry out your scissors or snips so it doesn't rust, and it also takes away the bacteria of the plants. So you don't want to bring your plants from one plant to the next plant because you will carry that bacteria or that infection from one plant to the next. And so that's one way that I use to clean my snips and scissors is just an alcohol spray that I carry with me. I have it with my snips or my scissors. That way it'll spray, it'll dry, and it's not constantly wet because alcohol will evaporate a lot faster than water and it'll sanitize things. So not quite a cleaning hack, but it works for me. I'm using it a lot. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And go check out Naomi's account. It's called Made by Naomi on Instagram. And we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Naomi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.